Oh, it is bracket week. You have until Thursday at noon Eastern time to fill yours out at CBSSports.com. Here are the round of 64 results. And look at the 11 over the 6, especially of late. Since 2010, 11s actually have a winning record against 6s. 27 and 25 straight up since 2010. And we've seen a lot of 11s, even from the first 4 in Dayton, not only make a run out of there, but go all the way into the second weekend of the NCAA tournament as well. We have Mackenzie Brooks from Sportsline to give us some of her upset picks this weekend. We saw a 16 win last year. We've seen 15s and 14s, but let's start with that 13 line, okay? Alabama is a 4. And that's a team that I think a lot of people are shying away from because of the way they finished the regular season.
Right. And you talk about this region in general. We've called it the Wild West. If something crazy is going to happen, a 13 being a 4, I do think it probably would make sense. It is in this region. Look, Alabama could beat everybody here. They could also lose to everybody here because they are so one-dimensional with their offense. Their defense, again, struggling and really struggles on the road. And when you look at this matchup specifically, relative to your other 4-13 matchups, this is the best percent chance the Sportsline model gives a 13 seed to win at 30%. The other 13 seeds closer to 20%, even less than 20%. But this matchup specifically with Charleston, they are an awesome, awesome road team. In fact, they shoot better on the road, which you don't see a lot, which is not great news for an already struggling Alabama defense. Plays even worse on the road, allows 16 more points on the road, 38% shooting from deep, which is really, really high for college basketball. So again, obviously the model would favor Alabama here, but if we are to pick a 13 to beat a 4, which we all know it's eventually going to happen, I think Charleston to beat Alabama is certainly your best value here.
Might be a ton of points in this game. Alabama, the top offensive team in the country, averaging close to 91 points per game, but a 30% chance that Charleston pulls that upset. Now to the 12-5, and every year everybody says you got to pick a 12-5. It always happens. Well, last year it didn't. The 5 seeds were 4-0 straight up and against the spread. This season, what's your 12-5 upset?
Yeah, to me that doesn't seem sustainable, so I feel like we are going to get a 12 seed upset here, and for us it's going to be James Madison here. James Madison pretty strong against D1 teams for what it's worth, 30-3 against D1 teams. And again, this is a team that is probably objectively more athletic than Wisconsin, which I know the bar is pretty low for that situation. Yeah. But for what it's worth, they are. We don't have a big sample size of them against competitive Big Ten teams, but they did play Michigan State earlier this year and won and out-rebounded them. So again, we're looking at relative 12s to beat 5s. This is our best shot at JMU, 32% chance to beat Wisconsin here. And when we power rank all of our 12 seeds, we do put JMU as significantly the best 12 seed here. So you got to pick your 12 over 5, get uncomfortable. I think James Madison's your best shot here.
And we saw some of the highlights. They went into East Lansing and beat Michigan State earlier on this season. That's the only Power 5, Power Conference team that they played, and now another team from the Big Ten. Let's get to the 11s now, and we saw the 11s have a winning record over 6s dating back to 2010, and there's actually one 11 that's a favorite over a 6 this season.
Right, we get to use Vegas to our advantage this time around, which feels a little different. We kind of call it like a spread versus seed discrepancy here. Again, the 11 seed in New Mexico is favored 2.5 points by the odds makers. Our Sportsline model also makes it pretty close to pick 'em, 53% for Clemson, 47% for New Mexico. So I think we need to pick at least 2 11 seeds to beat 6s. Our 2 worst 6 seeds here are Clemson and South Carolina. That's why we like New Mexico here in the spot. They are a top 25 team in KenPom, so let's not forget about that. They do have way better home-away splits. That's something the model really, really favors, and why the model bracket does so well in March is looking into that. There's a few 6 seeds that we just really do love, like BYU, that we wouldn't recommend losing to that 11 seed. So of the few, New Mexico is certainly one of our favorite here.
Does the model at all take into account or care about the lack of success the Mountain West has had in the tournament recently?
Yeah, so it does take into your conference strength as well, and past data.
Okay, you mentioned that other 6 seed that might be vulnerable. That's South Carolina. They're going up against Oregon. Yeah,
and we make this close to a pick 'em as well. We give Oregon a 49% chance, which again, relative to some of these other 11 seeds, is a pretty high value. You're going to have to pick some 11s to beat 6s. I think this is a great spot. South Carolina, just bad metrics. They are winning games, but it's not really on great terms. I've mentioned the home and away splits. I'm going to do it all through March Madness here. They have a 10-point differential when they go on the road. When you get into that double-digit change and waver down on the road, that's a pretty red flag warning sign for us here. That's really what we look into when the model looks into March Madness. So really just a fate of South Carolina here and their away splits.
The first four beginning tonight in Dayton. So often we see not only a team from the first four win a game, but win multiple games once they get into the round of 64 and the round of 32. Who's a team that you think is playing in the first four this year that might win multiple games?
Yeah, and you've mentioned it before. 11 of the 12 past seasons, a play-in team has won the round of 64. So for us, that's going to be the winner of the Boise State-Colorado game. We give both of those teams individually greater than a 50% chance to beat Florida here. I'll say it again, both of those teams have a strong away splits. And you look at Florida, who just lost their center. He's injured. Certainly is going to hurt the rebounding here. Another team, double-digit swing in point differential when they get on the road. That makes you really vulnerable in March on these neutral courts. So if you're going to pick one, which I really think everybody should, I think the winner of that Boise State versus Colorado is going to be the winner against Florida here in round of 64.
When you're filling out your brackets, you get either one of those teams. Like Mackenzie just said, it's you get Colorado or Boise State. You don't have to pick one of those teams when you're filling out your bracket. You get both of those teams from the first four because you have until Thursday at noon to fill things out. All right, let's look ahead to the Final Four. We've seen a lot of analysts fill out their brackets already here on HQ and on CBS Sports Network, and there's a lot of chalk. There always is, but this season in particular because of the three really good one seeds that we feel like we have. But give us a team off that 1 or 2 line that you think has a great chance to make it.
Yeah, I mean, it makes too much sense if you put Purdue, UConn, and Houston all in there. You just can't. For us, this is really a fading of Purdue here. I don't think Purdue is going to be the team to make it here, and that's because we like Creighton to beat them. We think they have the tools to do it. Again, Purdue, they go from +18 at home to +6 on the road. That is a huge swing. Now, as far as Zach Edey, Creighton has a few centers relative that are sizable to Edey. Starting center is great. He's a shooting threat. That could put Edey into foul trouble here. And then coming off the bench, they have a great center. You can honestly just hack away at Edey and not really worry about the fouls there. So between the two of them, I think this is a strong game for them. No one really talks about Purdue's turnovers here. They're averaging a significantly lot more turnovers on the road compared to their opponents here. So I think it should be a close game. I love the value on Creighton to make the Final Four. Sportsline model gives them a 30% chance to do so. The odds imply just around a 12% chance at +700. So I certainly think that's worth a sprinkle here.
Okay, Creighton, the 3 seed in the Midwest region. They open up against Akron in the round of 64. That's Mackenzie Brooks. You can see much more from her and the Sportsline experts at 5 o'clock Eastern Time weekdays on Inside the Lines, powered by the Sportsline model with picks, live betting, and live chat Q&A as well. It's youtube.com/Sportsline.